I'm Nick Seco from Home Right Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState with Tiny and Katie.
Welcome to Let's Talk Tri-State, all powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro. The right choice, winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State Awards. It is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Dan DeDona from localnews1.org. Happy Valentine's Day to you, my friend.
Happy Valentine's.
I feel like this week, and I thought about this on the way in today, I don't know why, but when it comes to the local news, I feel like I'm very out of the loop this week.
Huh.
I don't know if it's because I have not read, typically there's 1 or 2 days a week where I'll read the local news for one of our sister stations. I haven't done that this week. So I just feel very disconnected. And that's where you come in, because localnews1.org, you do a fine job for us every single week. We share your stories that you guys curate and vet those news stories, and we share those every single day on all of our radio stations that we have here at Verständig Media, and including Let's Talk Tri-State. So you like to start with the 5 things that we have coming up this weekend.
Indeed.
It's the weekend of love. And that's one of the themes, I'm sure. Talking about brides, I think you hinted about something like that when we were off air. So let's dive into it. What can we do this weekend, Dan?
Well, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. The weather is going to be a factor, of course. Last week we talked briefly about how the winds were coming straight across the northern plains. It's developed a little bit of a kink, so there's an outside chance that maybe those steering currents will take all the really nasty stuff up farther north, but it's still going to be cold.
Yeah.
This weekend. So wherever you're going with your lady friend or your guy friend, be sure you bundle up. Don't be running around out there in shorts and t-shirts. You're going to get cold. I
know tomorrow, I believe there's a chance of just a light wintry mix.
That's what they say.
That's what we're hearing. So
that's what they say. But that thing wiggles around. So that's why the weather guys get paid extra money to keep on top of it.
And you know the thing is, too, I don't know if you've noticed this. You have to have noticed this. But the Mason-Dixon line is about the biggest marker for weather change I've ever seen in my life. It can be north of the Mason-Dixon, snowing, getting 3 to 4 inches, and just a little, maybe a dusting or rain in Hagerstown. It's so weird what happens there in that area.
I carry suntan lotion just in case I'm
right. Well, of course.
The line,
yeah. Why wouldn't you?
This time of year. Okay, 5 things. First, Steve Martin's Cosmic Humor is going to be presented at the Chambersburg Community Theater. The show is going to be called Meteor Shower, written by Steve Martin. It's a comedy that will take place at the Wood Center in the Capitol Theater on February 14th through the 16th. Performances are scheduled Friday and Saturday evenings at 7 p.m., and there will be additional matinee shows on Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. Tickets are $25, $20 for seniors over age 65. Just a warning to everybody that there is mature content in this, so they don't recommend people youngsters under age 18 come in and visit. They do suggest that if you're going to get tickets, there's not a lot of it, so you want to make sure you get your tickets early. Second is the Macedonia United Brethren Church in Greencastle is set to host its annual benefit pancake breakfast and bake sale on Saturday, tomorrow, February 15th, between 7 and 10 a.m. You can get a big breakfast. They're raising funds for Andrew Byers. They're helping to purchase necessary medical equipment. Breakfast and baked goods will be available for a donation at the door, making it should be accessible to everybody.
You had me at pancakes.
Yeah. Local businesses in Waynesboro are going to show off their stuff at the Greater Waynesboro Chamber of Commerce 29th Annual Business Expo that will take place on Saturday, February 15th, between 8 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. at the Waynesboro Senior High School. Nice thing about that is they're expecting about 1,000 people.
Wow.
And the nice thing about it is that the Lions always collaborate with the chamber in Waynesboro, and they put on more pancakes. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to eat pancakes almost any place you go this weekend.
Eat yourself stupid on pancakes. I love it.
Indeed. The Maryland Theater is hosting Midnight at the Masquerade, a murder mystery, on Saturday between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Attendees, you're encouraged to dress in a costume and prepare for an evening of intrigue as you work with the folks on the stage to solve a murder mystery. It's going to be produced by the Murder Mystery Company, as you may or may not have seen on ABC's Shark Tank.
Okay.
It includes a credit and debit bar, concession snacks, prizes for winning detectives. Again, because of the bar, it's recommended for ages 16 and over. And finally, you may not have heard of these guys. They're off in Hancock, Maryland, but Flannel on the Trail is going to be providing a bridal expo on Sunday, the 16th, from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. It'll take place at Flannel on the Trail in Hancock, and attendees can expect to meet with over 20 local vendors on a wide range of services for weddings. So if that is in the air, mm-hmm. especially starting today,
right?
This is a place to go. They are looking at the weather, by the way. They do suggest that there is a snow date of March 2nd.
I want to say to everyone, by the way, speaking of bridals, the all-new TriState Bridal Magazine is out. This is a publication of Verstanding Media, and you can get this. It is absolutely free. You can pick this up. Lots of local businesses are carrying this for us. They have them set out. They cannot keep them in stock. This just came out. I mean, this has everything from season vacations, Ludwig Jewelers, Majestic at Whiskey Run. So you have venues, you have bridal gowns, you have the David's Bridal, you have just all these ideas, a checklist of things that you should be doing if you're getting married. So it gives, what I love about that is, and of course I didn't have to worry about it because I told my wife I wanted her to handle everything, and she did, and she's wonderful at it. But that has a checklist of, at 18 months away, you should be doing this. At 12 months away, you should be doing this. And then by, this month, have this done. And planning a wedding, especially if you're doing it yourself, can be a daunting task. So having that checklist is very nice.
Well, if you wanted to do it with everything that's theoretically, traditionally involved.
Right, yeah.
You really do need to make some time.
It can be quite an undertaking.
It can be.
Yeah. So now take us through some news, Dan, some headlines from this week, because like I said at the outset here, I'm very disconnected this week, so you're going to be filling me in on things I haven't even heard yet.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to add one sixth thing.
Okay.
We only do 5, but there is a sixth thing. Tonight, between 7 and 9 p.m., the Gymkhana Gymnastics of the University of Maryland troupe is going to be at Hagerstown Community College. So if they're excellent at this sort of thing, they're going to be doing some fundraising for students and students to students and for emergency services. Getting into the regular news, Washington County had a State of the County affair with about 200 people attending this past week. That was sponsored by the local chamber, M&T Bank, and Comcast. They talked about what they're going to do with $434 million worth of budget, which sounds like a lot of money, mm-hmm. until you take into account the usual fact that budgets look big, but most of it's personnel.
Yep.
So 442% of that 434 million is going to be going into education. The other another 28% for a total of math and public, 70% of all that money is going to be going into either education or into safety, which would also translate into police officers and services and whatnot. Most of the remainder seems to be going into infrastructure, roads, emergency service, agriculture, and some into the airport. So there's a lot of activity there. Not to be outdone, there's going to be a State of the City of Hagerstown taking place on the 4th of March between 6:30 and 9 in the morning. That'll be at the Maryland Theater. The Chamber is also going to be sponsoring that. If you want to hear what the city plans to do with their budget. Frostburg, staying with the subject of budgets for a while. Frostburg, they've been doing some really tough budget work. I don't know if you've ever participated in really big budgets, but it's very, very hard if you find yourself in a shortfall situation to turn that around. Well, Frostburg, I think we reported maybe about a month ago that they were looking at about a $7.7 million deficit and potentially laying off as many as 45 instructors and professors. Well, they went out. Dr. Nowacek, who just recently passed, created a group last summer to take a look at some alternatives to how they might do that. That group apparently initially came up with the 45 number, which, again, it goes back to personnel. That's always the biggest part of your budget. But they came up with cost savings through additional cost savings through 11 early retirements, 11 layoffs, and the University of Maryland system also helped out. So they've got their budget. They flipped it from a $7.7 million deficit to a $3.5 million surplus.
There you go.
And some of the people that they've talked to about potential layoffs, they've said, well, they don't have to do it immediately. They can delay it for at least a year, which is always the preferable way to give people time to respond to see if it actually happens.
If you can do it, yeah.
So, let's see. In Franklin County, moving from building things to demolishing things, they're just about starting on the 17th of February. They are going to demolish the old administrative annex, which is located at 272 North 2nd Street. Apparently, this building used to be a Sears Roebuck.
Okay.
Back in the days back before Sears went bankrupt and they were everywhere, they were a Sears Roebuck that got built in 1951.
Wow.
Apparently, part of the deal for putting in all the new administrative space in the Hagerstown courthouse and whatnot was that they would make sure that they provided adequate parking, because sometimes it's a little hard to come by down there.
Oh, yeah.
In Franklin, kind of around Chambersburg.
Yeah.
So that whole space, once it's leveled and the ground is prepared, they're going to turn it into a parking lot for 212 people. They expect that to be completed by the end of April.
Wow.
Let's see. What else we got here? The Franklin County Commissioners are setting aside $1 million to preserve farms. Apparently, they read our story about what Washington County was doing about trying to set some farmland aside. So what they do is they take money. They've got $1 million set aside. That's a combination of both county money and state money. They take that money and they purchase conservation easements with the intention of slowing down losses to developments, industrial development and whatnot. 40% of that is Franklin County money. Franklin County Commissioners are also taking their show on the road. They're going to, on the 19th of February, they're going to be visiting Green Township at 6:30 in the evening at 1145 Garvey Lane in Chambersburg. Chad Reichard, continuing along political lines for just a moment. Chad Reichard is he and apparently the Republicans in the state of Pennsylvania are taking issue to Governor Shapiro's budget, which calls for new taxes on new energy development. Thought occurred while I was reading this. It says, well, I guess if you're anticipating that President Trump is going to reduce taxes, all that free money is going to be floating around out there. Maybe they should suck it up and taxes. I'm not sure exactly what their thinking is, but apparently the Republicans really would prefer not to get in the way of generating new revenue for the state. He also announced that there was a lot of funding that was put out, $140,000 for fire and EMS units in Franklin County. That $140,000 went to 9 different fire and EMS squads, and roughly $15,000 apiece, except for the Waynesboro Volunteers, who got $26,000.
We talked about a while back, I think around early November, there was a Land O'Lakes, I believe, gifted to one of our, I think it was made in New Franklin, and that money, it seems like a lot, and that is great. But man, that goes so quick when you're buying all those apparatus and all that equipment.
Even the personal equipment, which doesn't last forever. I mean, there's a lifetime associated with the personal equipment. Those suits that they wear when they go running into a fire, they don't last forever. They have to be replaced periodically, and they are enormously expensive.
Oh yeah.
And the equipment itself is expensive. Of course, those big diesels that run it, and firing up those pumps to make sure you got enough water pressure. This is an expensive business.
Absolutely.
And most of the fire departments that you run into, especially in our area, they're all private. They're not. They get funding from the state. They get some funding from the local communities that serve them because, frankly, in the state of Pennsylvania, the law says that the townships and the boroughs have to provide fire coverage. So it's an obligation. The amount is open, but some fire companies do a much better job of doing their fundraising than others. One last thing from Chad. He's starting a thing. I don't know if you remember hanging Chads from the 2000 election.
I do, in Florida. Yeah,
in Florida. Well, Reichert is starting. He's announced his schedule for the local area. It's called Hang with Chad.
Okay,
I think that's supposed to be.
I like it.
Words, yeah. Starting the 21st of February, and then it'll be monthly on the third Friday of every month between 9:30 and noon. You can also get in by appointment. Just call ahead and let them know. Call into the Waynesboro office or to his office up in Harrisburg. Let's see. Mont Alto Fire Department. One last thing in that area. Mont Alto Fire Department is going to have a meat raffle, and they have announced their 2025 fundraising schedule. Mont Alto is really pretty good at this.
Yes, they are.
If you've never been to their carnival in the summer, that is just an absolutely enormous operation. They've spent money over a period of time to create some facilities that really support thousands and thousands and thousands of people that come in and participate in rides, in games of chance. They've got a whole building that does nothing except provide food for people that come in for the evening.
Indoor bingo. They do. So air-conditioned bingo. Then massive expanse of land that they have. They also have tractor pulls on their land, demolition derbies, fireworks shows. I mean, they really, to your point, they do it upright.
They do, and it's a week-long event. And
I'm not, and yes, you're right, but I'm talking also like throughout the year. I mean, the land that they purchased, and they completely just made it what they needed it to be, and it's meant to last them. They planned 20, 30 years, down the road with this, and then they have the band shell. They want to have concerts there, so it's quite the undertaking, but they have a great staff, and the beauty of it is not just the Mont Alto community that supports them. I mean, you have Waynesboro, you have people who are in Smithsburg, Hagerstown that come up, Greencastle come over, Chambersburg comes down. So Mont Alto is, to your point, and it's all because of the carnival that puts them on the map, but they really get that support from around the local area.
Yeah, and going back to the bridal story back at the top of the program here, like everything, if you've got a good plan, if you've thought out 15 or 20 years, and then you scale that, you put more detail to it at about the 5-year point. Then when you get to the 1-year point or the 6-month point, it's not such a burden trying to figure out how you're going to finance what you need to finance, and or even for that matter, deciding what you're going to spend your money on. I mean, it's how fast vehicles depreciate, how fast equipment wears out.
Right.
All that's known. But you actually have to sit down, and most organizations don't do that, or they do it sporadically.
Yeah.
If you do it consistently, it takes a lot of the mystery out of knowing how you're going to achieve what you intend to achieve and do it reliably.
Don't let things catch you off guard.
Right. We have a thought about that at the end. Hagerstown. Hagerstown is going to be having they're going to be sponsoring a walk. It's called the Coldest Night of the Year Walk. It'll be on the 22nd of February. It'll start and end at Hagerstown Community College at their community center. They have 2 to 5K, multiple routes. It's sponsored by Reach, and it will be supporting those who are suffering from hurt, hunger, or homelessness. In Waynesboro, the library, the Alexander Hamilton Memorial Library, is receiving $50,000 from the Foundation to Enhance Communities. That's actually a larger group that's kind of centered in Harrisburg.
Okay.
But they have regional elements to it, and the regional elements, I think this is kind of smart. The regional elements pay attention to what's going on in their regions, so when they take the money that's available and they start dispersing it, I have to imagine that they're thinking about what's the best marginal benefit that we're going to get by putting 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 here, there, the third place. Good thinking, good program. They're getting $50,000.
And if I'm not mistaken, Dan, the Alexander Hamilton Library in Waynesboro is not part of the Franklin County Library system.
Is not.
Yeah, I find that interesting. That's good.
For whatever reason, they've managed to remain independent. The library itself put together their own proposal. They'll be starting this in September, and it was sponsored by. They're going to be collaborating with the Waynesboro Area School District, Main Street Waynesboro, and others. One police item this week. Finally, no shootings.
Right.
Apparently, the Washington Township Police are seeking a thief who took money from the Middletown Valley Bank.
I've seen the pictures floating around.
Route 16. To the best of my knowledge, they have not yet identified the guy, but they got.
It's not for lack of trying. I'm telling you.
They got a good picture of it.
Yeah.
Hagerstown Community College is going to have a series of seminars at their annual Flower and Garden shows. That'll be the 15th and 16th of March. Also at the Hagerstown Community College Community Center. There's $5 admittance. Under 12 is free. And this will be it's being sponsored by the Hagerstown Community College alumni.
And I can tell you that growing up in Hagerstown, the Flower and Garden Show is a home run event every single year. I think if for no other reason than the fact that you're talking about flowers and gardens. And people are ready to come out of the winter doldrums, and they're tired of snow and being cold, and they just want to look at something that's pretty and blooming and harkens to warmer weather. So it's always been a big hit.
Well, getting through the doldrums is a tough time every year. A little bit far afield, but still within range of our coverage area. In Boonesboro, the Harney-Keating
Yes.
Home for the Elderly celebrated their 120th anniversary on the 7th of February. We didn't get that last week, but that's an important milestone. They're
good people down there.
They provide a lot of service in the way of senior living, and the article actually covers quite a bit more about how for many, many years they were a laboratory that would take local plants and whatnot and turn them into local cures for whatever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's pretty interesting. Local history, we're going to turn to Smithsburg. The story for local history this week is the Poison Pen of Smithsburg. Apparently, this is a byproduct of what's known as the Potomac Street Irregulars. This is a group of people that meet in Waynesboro on a monthly basis, and they take a look at old cases and they talk about them. Well, in this particular case, there was a young lady who started writing poison pen letters. Some of them were expressing her devout dedication to some guy. But in other cases, she was just spreading nasty rumors. She'd wait until the husband went away, and then the letter would be delivered telling the wife that some guy was being a crudhead. So anyway, that all happened between 1906 and 1913. But and the postmaster over there in Smithsburg, actually, he perforated a couple of stamps, and they suspected who it was, and they sold them to just that lady, and that's how they finally caught her. So that was kind of interesting. In health news, Emeritus's Dr. Fahad Lodi has a few words about health. February as being National Health Heart Month. He talks about the where, when, and what to eat that will be beneficial for your heart. Let's see. Wilson College has started a Doctor of Occupational Therapy program. It's another one of these accelerated programs. We talked about one last week. This one is going to start on January 26th, and instead of taking almost 3 years to get your way through it, they've accelerated this, turned it into a 2-year program, and applications are going to be open until the 5th of December of this year. So there's quite a bit of lead time on that.
Sure.
But if you're thinking about getting into occupational therapy, that would be a good program.
Yeah, it would.
Part of their motivation is they want to cut down the amount of time that goes into it. They also want to cut down the amount of cost that's associated with it, so that fewer people are deterred from trying to pursue something that they would like to simply because it's out of their reach. There is also a 2025 Lyme disease art contest. I've never really thought about ticks as being the subject for art, but this is put out by the state, and of course it's advertised through all the local county and municipalities. The idea is that Pennsylvania is one of the worst states in the country for Lyme disease, for ticks and whatnot, and they're everywhere.
They are.
And you need to know what the procedures are. You need to check periodically to make sure that you haven't. So anyway, the youngsters between 1st and 6th grade are being asked to create a short video or a poster on the theme of protect, check, and remove.
Interesting.
So it's a good effort, and kids obviously are the ones that are probably most likely to be out there running around in tall grass and leaves. And
well, unless you're like me, rolling around in the garden and taking care of all that and planting the tomatoes, and you can feel them crawling up your leg.
CDAS has got a Cabin Fever Music Fest starting it'll be on the 1st of March at 4 p.m. at the Orchards. There'll be 5 bands there. Tickets are $10 in advance, $12 at the door.
This is a huge event for them, big fundraiser for CVAS.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that you have to do. Probably a lot of people don't know that most of the animal support services in all of the local area, they're not government organizations.
Right.
They stand on their own, and they have to, much like everybody else that's doing much like the fire departments and whatnot. They provide these services to the municipalities, to the townships, and the boroughs, and the cities, and the counties.
And I would think it used to be, because Jen from Cumberland Valley Animal Shelter would come in a lot, and she used to rave about this event. And I'm assuming that what I'm about to say is still the case, but she would say how all of the artists who play there donated their time and their services. And I'm assuming that's more than likely probably still the case. That's a wonderful thing. 5 bands.
We didn't get that out of it, but we'll look into that.
Yeah.
Last news item, sports. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's way too much high school and for that matter, even elementary school sports activity that's taking place. But there was one that caught my interest. You don't see all the time. Bocce.
Oh, bocce ball.
Bocce ball.
Yeah.
You don't think about that, but apparently it's a high school sport.
Okay.
And I didn't know much about this. Apparently, the field of play is 90 feet long, about anywhere from 8 to 13 feet wide, and you start it by throwing this little thing called a bocino. It's a small ball.
It's basically a marker.
Yeah, you have to throw it into a space that is about 8 feet from the end of this 90-foot thing. It's about 16 foot long. So it's quite a heave, but you have to get it in there. And then every other thing that you do, each team has got 4 balls, and you throw your balls, and the idea is to get your ball closer to the bocino.
Yeah.
And you win based upon how many. The only team that scores is the team that's got the closest to the bocino, but then you get points for every other ball that is inside of your opponent's balls. So
it's akin to curling, shuffleboard in a way. It's whoever's closest to the target. In a lot of like darts, for crying out loud. I mean, you could make those. But I play bocce ball. My in-laws every year they do a July 4th get together, and they have a bocce ball set, and we play that, and it is a lot of fun. Those balls have some heft to them. They're almost like shot puts.
Yeah.
In a way. So
they're made out of metal or ceramics or wood.
But it's a lot of fun, and you knock them out of the ring and try to score your points, and it's just a good family event.
It's a skill game.
It really is.
If you're going to be any good at it.
Yeah.
I was surprised that it was a high school sport.
I'm glad to hear that. I'll tell my daughter about it when she gets up there. But my goodness, we could, as always, we could talk to Dan all day long about everything going on in our area, and he covered all of our news from this past week. And you have anything else that you want to cover?
One last thought.
Let's do it.
We were talking about getting ahead of things.
Yeah.
You never want to get behind. So just this thought of the day, one can relish the fact that you've mustered the strength to catch up.
There you go. I love it. Always playing catch up, aren't we? Dan keeps us prepared. Localnews1.org. That's the website. His wonderful staff, they are great at what they do. They are top notch. I cannot think of any company that does it better. And they would love your business, love your membership. Dan, what's the price per membership a month for
$4.99 a month?
$4.99 gets you unlimited access, and the 5 things that you just heard here, you get that in email form every single week.
Every Friday.
Is that part of the package with that, or is that something anyone can sign up for?
Anybody can sign up for that.
Okay, gotcha.
For a subscription.
Sure, correct. It's part of the subscription is what I'm saying. Yep, great. So much more. Localnews1.org. Check out their website. And thank you so much for joining us today on Let's Talk TriState, all powered by WellSpan, winner of the American Hospital Association's Quest for Quality Award, online at wellspan.org.
Let's talk TriState.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TriState, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.